This is the Sony ZV-E10. This camera came out in 2021. It has a 24.2 megapixel sensor. It can shoot in 4K. It can shoot in 1080p at 120 frames a second. And this is my review for 2025. Is the Sony ZV-E10 still worth it? Before we get started, this review is being filmed on the Canon 80D, a camera that came out in 2019, has no 4K capabilities whatsoever, and its highest frame rate is 60 frames a second. However, it does also sport a 24.2 megapixel sensor, and photography wise, I would say it's on par with the ZV-E10, if not slightly better due to Canon's color science. However, if you are looking for a camera for video, if you are perhaps considering one of Sony's fastest selling cameras of all time that is used widely across all of YouTube, then this video is here to help you make that decision. But you clicked on this video because you want to know if the Sony ZV-E10 is still worth it in 2025. So let's get started. Now, right off the bat, I want to give you a couple of downsides because these are big enough that depending on the type of video you're going to be shooting, it may well be a deal breaker. The first one is it's got pretty bad rolling shutter, which is essentially if you're moving the camera from side to side in a panning motion at medium to high speeds, you will get this warbling, wobbling effect on any vertical lines. It looks like they're warping. If you're thinking this is going to be great for like action cinematography or something like that, it's not. Another one of the negatives is that they're obviously at $700. There's no IBIS in this camera. You must rely on the lens's stabilization, and not all lenses have stabilization. The camera does come with the option for steady shot, which will give you stabilization out of camera, but it does come with a significant crop, and it's pretty much the same thing as when you stabilize something in an app and it zooms into the video and keeps something in the center of the frame. That's pretty much the same thing this is doing, which means you're going to lose a lot of data around the edges of that frame. Another solution is Sony's own software, Catalyst Browse, which uses the gyroscopic data from this Sony ZV-E10 to determine the movements that it needs to simulate to counterbalance the movements that were actually made within the camera. But nobody wants to run every single clip that they take through 3 different softwares just to get it into their editor. So there is that. It is an option. It is a workaround that works, but it's not fun, and depending on your workflow, it's not really a viable option. But now on to a few positives. The ZV-E10 has a 24.2 megapixel sensor. It shoots in 6K and downsamples it in camera to 4K. The quality of the videos that come out of this is actually really nice. I'll give you a few samples of some test footage, the kind of image quality that you'll be getting out of this camera. Another one of the upsides is going to be the vast amount of third-party lenses that you can get for the ZV-E10. First-party lenses are often quite expensive, and if you're buying something like a ZV-E10, especially on the used market, the likelihood is there that you're not going to then go drop $2,000 on a high-end lens. I would recommend going with something like TT Artisan. TT Artisan make these really high-quality third-party lenses, like this beautiful f1.2 with its solid metal construction and that stepped aperture ring. A lens like this costs $112 on Amazon, and it can give you results that look like this. And that really is one of the beautiful things about Sony's E-mount, is that there are a vast array of third-party lenses that you can pick up for the ZV-E10 on the cheap, and TT Artisan is a great brand to start with. Another really positive thing about using the ZV-E10 is the ease of use. This is a camera you can grow with and learn how to use a camera if you are a beginner or just considering getting into photography or videography or cinematography or whatever you want to call it. This is a great camera to start with, point and shoot functionality, but also once you switch it into manual, you can dive into all the settings and really learn how cameras operate and learn how to use your camera. One of the other things I really love about this camera is the 3 inbuilt microphones. Now, this isn't going to replace getting something like a shotgun mic or a lav mic, for example. But in a pinch, having a microphone this good built right into the camera, it is passable. And if you're just holding the camera like this vlogging, I don't think people are going to be too put off by the sound of it, especially with the little windscreen or dead cat that comes with the camera. Another thing that I think a lot of beginners are going to love about this camera is its one-touch solutions to settings-based issues like trying to get a blurry background. It has a dedicated button literally called background defocus. Even if you're in manual mode, hitting that button is going to snap focus to the foreground, the subject, using the autofocus, and change the settings in order to automatically blur out the background as much as the lens allows. Photographers, this bit is specifically for you. This camera does take fantastic high-quality images, but if you take a look on the back, you will notice there is no viewfinder, electronic or optical. No viewfinder whatsoever, so you will be relying on that LCD, and I have to warn you, it is not the best. In direct sunlight, it is quite difficult to see what you're actually taking a picture of, how your composition is set up, and really, if you're looking for a camera for photography only, and you're eyeballing something like the ZVE-10 as your first real photography camera, I would recommend going with something like the Canon 70D or the Canon 80D. The 80D also has a 24.2 megapixel sensor, but it has an optical viewfinder with 100% coverage, which means exactly what you see through the viewfinder is exactly what's going to be in your photo when you hit that shutter. If you're picking this camera up for photography, it's not very likely you're going to miss the shot that you're trying to get because it has, for its price point, an incredibly fast photography frame rate. I want you to listen to this. Those were all photos being taken. So if you're doing some sort of action photography or trying to photograph cars or motorcycles or your kids or pets or anything that's moving faster than me on my way to the fridge, then that high shutter speed is really going to help you out, and it really decreases the likelihood that you're going to walk away with no usable photo. There will be something in there in that burst that you can use. So that is, in my opinion, the highest positive. I love that high FPS for photography. All in all, should you buy a Sony ZV-E10 in 2025? If you're looking to spend no more than $650, I think there are very few options better than the ZV-E10, but if you have a budget of around $900 to $1,200 in that range, I would say go with the Mark II. Forget the kit lens, pick up a third-party lens, and I think you'll have a better overall package when it comes to camera capability versus money spent. To wrap up this video, I want to go over the biggest drawback that I think this camera has going for it. The bad news is these batteries are trash. I mean, I shoot with the 80D for the most part now when I'm doing photo. I get many images out of it. The ZVE-10, you're lucky to get 2 hours. So I will say, if you buy this camera, whether you buy it new or used, definitely consider picking up a couple extra batteries because you will absolutely need them. If you're interested in learning about the camera that I filmed this video with, I'll leave an annotation somewhere around this general area somewhere about the Canon 80D. In my next video, I want to talk a bit about this accessory. This accessory is pretty cool. I think you will like hearing about it. It's also a very money efficient way to put something like this lens onto your tiny ZV-E10 camera. So subscribe to learn about speed boosters. I'm gonna go use my ZV-E10. Thank you for watching.